I don't know.
Okay, we're going to start now. Had a good day. Perfect timing.
Show them what you're made of.
Perfect timing. Okay, I think we'll start. Well, good afternoon everyone. My name is Helen Wild and it is a very special joy for a celebrant to marry a couple, as I did Heidi and Dan, and then to be invited to conduct a ceremony to name their first child. And Angus was born on the 10th of May this year, as I'm sure you all know. On behalf of Heidi and Dan, I'd like to welcome you all very warmly to this special celebration. In giving a child a name, we celebrate a rite of passage of birth into this world. As the child's special community of family and friends, we offer love and guidance for the journey that lies ahead. We're reminded of how treasured this child is in his community, and we recognise the responsibilities that must be undertaken by those who care for the child. Heidi and Dan would just like to take a moment to acknowledge that there are some key people in Angus's life who can't be here today. Dan's siblings, Helen, Tom and Andy, and Heidi's brother-in-law, Greg.
He's here now.
Oh, I bet. Welcome, Greg. Delete. After their marriage nearly 2 years ago, Dan and Heidi both knew they wanted to start a family, and it didn't take long before they could make this a reality. They then set about moving house and into a new area, selling their old house in Willoughby and preparing for Angus's arrival. They found out they were having a boy early on in their pregnancy, and it was with great anticipation that they awaited his arrival, which in the event was 5 days overdue. After being induced, Angus still didn't want to make an appearance, so he was delivered via emergency caesarean section at North Shore Private Hospital at 11:08 p.m. Well, in these special moments on special occasions, we often turn to poets whose gift of words has the power to move and inspire us. And so I'd like to read a little prayer which was written by Anne Spring. And this is Prayer for a New Baby. We are grateful for this new being, who is small in body, yet great in soul, who has come into our midst as a gift. May we be sensitive to the sacred as we nurture and learn from this child. Give us patience, give us strength, and grant us wisdom and love to help this child learn to sing his own song. Each new life is unique and infinitely precious, a gift to humanity and a renewal of hope for us all. The arrival of a new child is a source of joy and of course the occasion for much happiness and celebration. And so of course you're all here today to share in this celebration. But this is also the beginning of a new and weighty responsibility for the child's parents and his family and friends. A responsibility which demands determined commitment, strength and great patience, and above all, enduring and unconditional love. It's up to those around Angus to nurture him and to teach him what he needs to know to make his way in the world. And we all know that real education goes far beyond what we learn in a classroom. Dan and Heidi sincerely hope that you will all play some part in his education, be it teaching him about his world, about plants, animals, geography, or cooking, languages, travel, or indeed about sharing fun and laughter and friendship. This community can offer him pathways to so much of what he needs to learn and experience and to understand his world. Heidi and Dan hope that Angus will grow up to be a happy, healthy and kind individual who enjoys every moment, lives honestly, finds joy and makes the most of every situation. They hope he values family, friendship and love. They hope he treasures the world, its people and its places. And they hope he learns how to be responsible, but have some fun along the way. And now Heidi and Dan would especially like to acknowledge Angus's grandparents today. When grandparents involve themselves in the life of a grandchild, they can have a great and lasting impact. They can pass on family traditions and values. They have time and patience to give in abundance, to encourage a child and to teach him about uncritical love. They give the child a sense of belonging. They make the child feel special. And so today we acknowledge the tender and loving relationship between Angus and his grandparents, Wendy and Kevin and Christine and John, who bring an extra dimension of love and support into his life. Heidi and Dan hope that his grandparents will be able to teach Angus many things and that he can enjoy a special bond with them all as they did with their grandparents. And so today's ceremony of name giving is both a solemn and a very happy one. We recognise the unique individuality and the worth of this child, and we welcome him with love into the world of his parents, Heidi and Dan, and into the wider circle of their families. And so now, little one, your parents, Heidi and Dan, have chosen these names for you: Angus, Lindgren, Beck. They have chosen Angus because it is a Celtic name meaning strong, and they will always strive to guide you, Angus, so that you will grow strong, not just in body, but also in heart and in character. Lindgren is Heidi's family name, one which they wanted to continue on as your middle name, and Beck is your father's family name. They feel you're both a Lindgren and a Beck at once, and so we now bestow these names on you. You listening, Angus? Yes. Of course. With rapt attention. Heidi and Daniel, do you promise to teach Angus about the world, guide him towards what is best for him, protect him from harm, and love him unconditionally to the best of your abilities? We do. And Wendy and Kevin, John and Christine, will you accept your responsibility to stay close to Angus? Will you help him and support Heidi and Dan as they guide him through life? Will you touch him with your wisdom and try to influence him for good through your own ways? And will you encourage him to uphold worthy principles of living?
We will.
Thank you. And to all of you, let us understand that our lives are all interconnected, and there are many ways in which we can all give and receive, teach and learn from one another. So will you all support and encourage Heidi and Dan in raising Angus?
We will.
Thank you. And so as a symbol of your goodwill and blessings for Angus, Heidi and Dan would like to ask you to write down your hopes and wishes, just a little something, on a small card and place it in the wishing box which they have provided. They will keep this safe, in a safe place for Angus until he's old enough to appreciate their meaning and to understand the love that surrounded him at his birth. And so, Angus, we wish you a lifetime of happiness, health and well-being, truly enriched by the goodness and the love of all your family and friends. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, if you've got a glass, I think you should all raise it now and drink a toast. A toast to Angus. So you have a little certificate for you all to sign.
The neighbours up.
Afternoon tea will be served in a minute.
You're right.
We're signing for, is it Dan? Extra babysitting duties we're signing for. He's the same age as Angus. You're looking a bit worried. Has it all got a bit too much for him?
I just wonder where my food is, because it's about 45 minutes past my normal feeding time, and I'm just going.
That's right.
Come on, baby.
We'll take them in a bit. We'll take them over to the soft chairs, the comfy chairs over there. Now? In a bit. We've got to sign stuff first.
She's still breastfeeding.
Comfy chair? No, you can't let what we sign. No one suspects a comfy chair.
Well, no, she's
You're a very good boy, weren't you?
You have the cheese, I'll have the coffee, how many people want? I have tea, I have coffee.
His features are a bit more like Terry.
Yeah, very short and sweet. Sorry, Hillary, there's a dummy somewhere. There's one over on that.
Grandfather? A grandfather?
And your Dan's mum.
Heidi down there, so Christine wants to sign in there, that would be nice, under Heidi.
No, I knew you were Dan's mum, I just didn't. I couldn't remember your name. So, how long were you guys over for?
We've got nothing on there.
That's your first time over?
Wendy?
I'm on next, am I? Oops.
Is that your Dan's grandma?
Yes.
Ives and I are coming out with Ives. Come on, Ives, now here.
Read the small print.
It's an end of babysitting, I understand.
Yeah.
When I'm here, grandmother.
Next time.
That's a girl.
Good girl.
Good girl, darling.
I thought
Keep on there.
Actually, I should have done you first. Right.
No, we lift his.
Thanks for coming.
Alright, but I need to know how many everybody wants to take.
I'll come and lose your hand.
Well, we're at 48.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got his sign.
Is that your wine?
Yeah, I've got a sign for that, Helen.
Hello, I'm very well. Come on,
Thank you. Tell her
so,
later.
just down there.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, thanks for coming, Sam.
That's alright, thank you.
Catch you later.
Thank you for the food.
Pleasure.
It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
That's lovely. Did you sign on there?
Second place, over here.